I've made a number of changes in my personal life because of the abuse and harassment that I have experienced on Twitter. Anytime I receive an email from anyone, I have to search them to see if they're legit, which everyone should do, but taking the location services off of pretty much every app that I use. I don't post a photo of somewhere that I am until I have left. And I used to think that I was paranoid until when I was harassed by a number of white supremacists for about a month straight. And I saw on the little websites where they were talking to each other about me, they were tracking my location. They were trying to figure out, where did I live? Did I still live in the Midwest? Had I moved to the West Coast, where I have lived in the past? Was I on the East Coast? Where is it that I had lived? So it is very scary to think about that. I had to move into a building that has a number of security measures. It's really scary, and I think that there are people who live in fear of things like this way more than I do every single day here in the United States and around the world. I have friends who are undocumented and deal with this, and a lot of activists who are persecuted all around the world. And so it feels a little frivolous to be talking about this sometimes, and I don't think any of us should have to deal with it, especially not for using Twitter. That just seems like so simple.
I have learned over years of using Twitter to be afraid. So long before this incident happened, I literally invested in a home security system so that when I do get sort of a huge attack coming in on Twitter, if they happen to dox me in the middle of the night while I'm asleep, I can at least feel like someone will wake me up if someone tries to break in the house, right? So literally, Twitter abuse made me buy a home security system.
I definitely, since receiving the multitude of hate and abusive tweets I received in November, I've completely shifted how I use Twitter and online platforms. It's become much more of something that's professional. I don't tweet out personal things. I very much sanitize what I'm saying. I double check it, triple check it. I won't post certain pictures. I think the thing that was kind of the most upsetting about what happened was that my photos were being circulated online, turned into memes, used as arguments against things, like all these photos that I'd taken years ago. So I think since then I've definitely I'm really conscious of everything I put up, and definitely censor myself a lot more.
You can definitely notice a difference in the way I engage on Twitter. I'm a lot more hesitant about things that I post and things that I tweet. And I have to really psych myself up and say, okay, I'm going to tweet my opinion on this, and it could be something about like EastEnders to current affairs. But I have to gear myself up and say, okay, I might receive a storm of abuse here, just because of an opinion that some people don't share. And so I think I'm not as expressive as I used to be. I'm not as responsive as I used to be. I'm a lot more considered, and maybe that is a mature thing, but I think it's not coming from a positive place. It's not coming from a place where I want to make a considered opinion. I want to go away and do some research. It's coming from a place of fear, because I don't want to go back to feeling the way I felt last year, that anxiety and that stress and that paranoia, like, are those people that are trolling me people that I know? Like, I just don't want to go back to that place. And so I think there's a real apprehension to how I use the platform. And I definitely don't share a lot of photos. I don't post where my location is. I'm a lot more aware of the kind of possible consequences of how I use Twitter.